Before we dive in, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to hear today might just change the way you see relationships forever. If you've ever found yourself chasing after someone who blows hot and cold, who rejects you but keeps sending mixed signals of hope, this video is for you. Hit the like button if you've ever felt trapped in an ambiguous relationship. Share with a friend who absolutely needs to hear the truth about this emotional manipulation, and stay until the end. You might never look at your own stories the same way again. You've fallen into a deep, insidious trap, a subtle emotional mechanism that sneaks in quietly and slowly drains your strength of character. When you're dealing with a woman who's rejected you, yet still acts as if you hold a special place in her world, you start to see glimmers of hope, a thin strand to hold on to in the hopes that someday something will change. In reality, it's a mental trap. She doesn't really want you, but she definitely doesn't want you to escape her orbit either. She doesn't desire to love you or build anything real, but rather wants to ensure that you keep circling her world, that your energy, your desire, your loyalty keep flowing into her well, even though she gives you nothing in return. She craves the power of knowing that you think of her, that you desire her, that you put her above everything else, especially above yourself. That's when you get caught in a mess of contradictory signals, little pills of ambiguity that build up over time. One day you're met with cold indifference, short answers, or even silence. The next day you get a sweet message, a subtle compliment, a gesture just ambiguous enough to rekindle faint hopes. You latch on to every detail, an emoji on a message, a like on your Instagram story, a slightly longer conversation. Suddenly you interpret it all as secret proof of attraction. You turn every crumb into a piece of an impossible love puzzle without seeing that it's all just a game of mirrors, where you're both the audience and the guinea pig. The Stoics would call this inner alienation, a state where you become a slave to uncertainty, constantly questioning your own value, your behavior, your destiny. Does she love me but is afraid to say it? Is she just playing hard to get? Or should I be more patient and prove I deserve her? Those kinds of questions never have an answer. The real question is, why did you allow yourself to get lost in her contradictions? At this stage, it's no longer about love. It's about power. She's the one setting the rules in a game where you bet everything, hoping for a jackpot that will never come. The harder you try, the further you drift from yourself, the more you lose your grounding. Every day you spend dissecting her reactions is a day wasted building illusions. Seneca warned us, the greatest obstacle to living is expectancy, which hangs upon tomorrow and loses today. While you wait, you're not really living. A Stoic man sees the truth while others look for reassurance. He won't let himself play these games of shadows and light. A woman's no, whatever its form, he accepts with the sharpness of a blade. If her actions and words offer nothing but withheld affection, he won't play. He refuses to be her ego's crutch, refuses to be the backup plan, refuses to fight for a place that isn't given with dignity. Being chosen is an honor. Earning it is not about begging. He knows it, so he never devalues himself. He acts for and by himself, never to force someone else's heart. In these situations, countless men fall into emotional servitude. They think their unwavering loyalty, kindness, and devotion will finally open her heart, as if sacrifice could create desire. But that's not how attraction works. Kindness earns respect, not passion. He who seeks validation from others is doubly a slave, wrote Seneca again, a slave to his own emptiness and to the whims of others. You end up begging for crumbs you should have refused out of self-respect. If you're neither the king nor the chosen one in her heart, walk away with your head high, because insisting in humiliation is giving up your own worth. You'll notice that ambiguity is always these women's favorite weapon. It's never a straight rejection, never a full yes either, just enough fuzziness to keep you attached. She tells you she's not looking for anything serious, but then comes to you with her secrets. She tells you she isn't available, but reaches out late at night. She drops random compliments, then gives you the cold shoulder for days. She whispers, "You're the only one who really understands me," then vanishes as soon as she's gotten what she needed. Your listening ear, your attention, your reassuring presence. You fall for every signal, your mind racing, convinced you've seized an opportunity. But the truth is, she's not investing in you, she's investing in what you give her. Your attention is the currency that feeds her ego, not a step toward real reciprocity. She keeps you in this gray zone. You give too much to leave, but not enough is ever returned to move forward. The Stoic refuses to let his life become a riddle to solve. He knows freedom lies in clarity. If things aren't clear, he acts like the situation doesn't even exist. He won't exhaust himself trying to understand what is only confusion, because he knows how valuable his time, energy, and soul are. Stoic wisdom guides him once again. Tranquility comes when you care less about things outside your control. Wasting time decoding someone who offers no reciprocity is giving up your own power. Here's the hard truth, the one that hurts but sets you free. In this entire story, she doesn't love you, but she loves what you do for her. She loves the way you boost her ego with your messages, the way your attention puts her on a pedestal, how you react to everything she does. All that gives her constant validation and no risk. Your advice, your likes, your compliments, they're just little jewels she snatches with no gratitude. And you're not truly a man in her life. You're just a mirror she uses to admire herself. Marcus Aurelius said, "Self-respect is the fruit of discipline, not of flattery." If you really understand this, you won't give your attention to anyone who doesn't truly deserve it. A Stoic begs for nothing. He doesn't aim to force open a closed door. He understands, as Epictetus stated, people are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. If the door to love stays closed, he redirects his energy. He cuts the tie. The greatest mistake is believing persistence will pay off where your dignity is being trampled. The real solution isn't to do more, to prove or plead. It's to do less or nothing at all. He retreats, chooses silence, emptiness, withdrawal. Because in that emptiness you find your value. You discover who you are without needing to beg anyone else to see it. The expected response is not crying, arguing, or explaining endlessly. It's disappearing. He who depends on others to be happy is doomed to suffer, said Marcus Aurelius. The Stoic knows how to say stop without saying a word. He vanishes, cuts things off cold, and turns back to what strengthens his soul, his passions, ambitions, friendships, body. Look around you. This story plays out every single day. Think of Hugo, age 27, working with that colleague he's obsessed with. She says she's not ready for a relationship, but never misses a chance to flirt vaguely, to ping him all the time with mindless chatter, to invite him to afterworks where she, inevitably, ends up in the arms of another guy. Hugo keeps holding on, convinced that if he just stays nice, loyal, and understanding, one day he'll finally get his chance. But he's just the useful idiot, her ego crutch, quickly discarded when his usefulness fades. We all know a Hugo. Maybe you've been him. He isn't chosen, isn't kissed, isn't valued. He's only a silent witness to someone else's victory. In this dynamic, the Stoic embodies cold discipline, the elegance of cutting clean, the quiet power of true indifference. He doesn't stoop to crying fits. He doesn't go on crusades. He doesn't try to justify himself. He observes his emotions, but he refuses to let them rule his reason. It's not events that disturb people, it's their judgments about them, wrote Epictetus. He gives himself total silence, not another message, not another ounce of attention, not another second wasted on her narcissistic drama. He invests in himself, his projects, his circle, friends, training, goals, everything that makes him grow and lifts him out of that prison. Because it takes courage to cut things off. It takes real strength to walk away from where so many others beg to be loved. But a man's real power shines brightest when he says, "Enough. I'm not a toy, not an option, not a mirror for someone else's ego. Here's the bottom line. Nothing poisons a person more than staying trapped in an illusion. Rejection stings but frees you. Illusion destroys you slowly. It prolongs your pain. It drains your vital energy. There are people who love seeing you hope. They'll never offer you more than a cruel little show. Don't get sucked in. Wake up before your heart and mind belong to nothing but the ghost of a fleeting smile." If this sounds familiar, ask yourself, is your happiness still dependent on other people's approval? Or are you ready to cut off the cycle and choose your own dignity? Take control. Drop a comment below with your experience. Let me know what you think if you've ended up in this situation before, and above all, subscribe so this truth can reach as many people as possible. Remember, the Stoic refuses to be trapped in a golden prison of waiting. He builds his own freedom with effort, respect, and discipline. Become the king of your own story. Don't let illusion or ambiguity chain you down anymore. That's my message for today. True power begins where begging ends. It's your move.